welcome to the A60 show. I have with me a very special lady who does a lot in the community. I came down here on vacation. She actually had me down here working. She had me giving out turkeys for Thanksgiving. She actually had me giving out food on the food pantry. I was actually in a march with her about gun violence. She's doing a lot in the community. I want to say thank you and introducing Ms. Camara Jackson. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. I just want to say I appreciate you every time I'm in town. You always let me use your office free of charge, so I appreciate that.
Listen, anytime.
Thank you so much for letting me use the office.
Anytime.
Well, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Where are you from originally?
Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York.
Where in Brownsville?
I am born and raised in Riverdale Towers.
Riverdale, okay.
Then moved to Co-op on, Linden and Rockaway Avenue.
Okay. Where did you go to school at?
So I went to school in East Flatbush.
East Flatbush? Okay.
Yes, where this office is located.
Okay.
So I went to school 198 down the block from here. And then I transferred to school in Harlem, and I went to Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Yes,
okay,
Harlem.
Okay.
And then furthered my career in Wesleyan, where I, got my degrees. And then came back to New York to graduate from Metropolitan College of New York.
Metropolitan. Is that downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Downtown there, yes.
Okay. So now you graduated.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, it's been a long time.
I know.
It's been many years ago. That's a long time ago. But what's next is, I guess, turning my small grassroots nonprofit into a Canva. Right? Okay. Turning it into a partnership with children, a large nonprofit that serves inner city youth throughout Brooklyn, throughout New York City. And, eventually my goal is to spread worldwide with this organization. So that's what's next.
Okay, so how did Elite come
How did Elite form?
Yes, I need to know that.
So, I don't know, I guess I'm going far back now, but after graduating college and realizing that I wasn't going to stay out of state anymore, I was going to come back to New York City and actually work. I worked in the New York City Department of Education, so I taught as a teacher.
Okay, you was a teacher.
I was a teacher for many years. I did that. And,
what school?
All over. I hopped around Harlem Children's Zone, Kappa 5, just many public schools throughout New York City. And what I found was that I loved it, but my immune system couldn't take it. One of the things that people don't know about me is I have sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So the sickle cell was just not agreeing with my career. Walking into the classroom, I was exposing myself to germs. Not enough fresh air. Young people do everything.
Yeah, right? They all mixing it up and everything.
Not conscious of just, germs and sanitizing and other things like that. So my immune system began to deteriorate.
Right.
And that forced me to have to look at another career choice. And it was like, what was I going to do? I had a couple of options in the criminal justice system.
What, you want to be a lawyer?
No, probation and parole, corrections. I had a couple of things that I could have done in the criminal justice system. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. I kind of want to work with our young people to do some preventative work. So I stayed out of work for a while and I volunteered within community. So I was in East Flatbush volunteering, working with different agencies, community boards, other nonprofits. I got familiar with some nonprofits in Brownsville and started to do some work there. And I was like, bing, I got it. I can start my own nonprofit, kind of go into the schools, provide the same type of support systems that I was providing every day as a teacher anyway.
Right.
But I would be able to become a contracted vendor and develop my nonprofit. And that's essentially where it came from.
When did you get your first building or your first office space?
So my first office space I actually got in 2016, and I founded the nonprofit in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. So I realized early from doing the work in community, if I was going to take the leap, I was going to take the leap. And oftentimes you find a lot of people, running their own businesses, but they have no legitimate space and community for people to identify. And that was important for me. Working with young people, I wanted them to be able to come to the elite office. I wanted them to be able to recognize the street of my office as a safe haven if there was any type of, problems that they may run into in community. So with that, I had to really step out and leap out on faith and get my first storefront really when I started my nonprofit.
Where was it located?
Belmont.
Oh,
45 Belmont Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I still have that office, but that is my first office that we opened.
First office. Now you do some stuff out of that office. What do you actually do out of that office right now?
So right now I'm running a precision employment program. Precision employment is a program that provides workforce development to community members, ranging from the ages of 18 and up. Okay. So we teach OSHA, we teach refrigeration, just giving the SST cards and really training community in getting their OSHA certification. And then after completion of the program, we put them into a job training site where they can continue to work and gain skills.
Do anybody sign up for that, or just
everybody signs up?
Okay, I'm like, how do they know about it? Is it word of mouth, or is this via your website?
So definitely Instagram. Elite Learners Inc. on Instagram, Facebook, Elite Learners Inc. But also, I want to mention this: the best part about that particular workforce development program is that the person is getting paid from the time they walk in the door. So we're actually paying.
I might have
community.
To move back from the I need a job.
So we're actually paying community members to get trained. Right? We're paying you to be able to take your time, gain the necessary skills, go through the training courses, get to the job site, and then after being in the program within a certain amount of months, if the job site decides to hire you full time, then you can go ahead and work for the job site. But if you don't get hired by a job site, we're still paying you. So that's the beauty.
So you're getting paid even if the job site,
yes.
You're not even going to.
Yes. And it's not just getting paid. Like they're literally getting $35 an hour.
If you need a job, y'all need to reach out. I'm telling you right now. So how do you get funding for something like that?
So, but let me go back before I say, before I explain how the program came about. Yeah. Like I want to just highlight that that's the beauty of Elite. Right. So the difference, and a lot of people say there's so many nonprofits, especially in 2021 after COVID. There's so many women-owned businesses that are doing contracting work with young people, but many of them are not bringing tangible resources that are changing lives to community members right then and there. And like that's what my organization is about.
Did you get this from any other platform or that idea? Because when Elite is different. It's definitely different from what I've seen. But you also are in the schools. And I remember a program when I was growing up called the Jackie Robinson program. You remember that program? And I know they was doing jobs and stuff like that. Did you ever try to get that template and try to expand on your own?
No. I was a part of, I know the Jackie Robinson program. I was a part of the Valley, which was something similar, but it was in Harlem. But a lot of those programs, they provided mentorship and guidance. And I think that part of the program I took, but there was no immediate life-changing gratification that you got from being in the program, right? So a lot of times, they make a difference. They impact our lives, especially for young people. You get mentors. Sometimes, that's the difference between a young person excelling or, being incarcerated. Being a part of a program that can positively have a outcome on their life. But you gotta wait to see those results. You gotta be a part of it, right? You gotta be committed to it. And one of the things, especially working with my 18 and up population, is elite learners will go out our way to immediately change your circumstance. Right? And that's how hard we work to make sure that we're serving. So if I'm working with someone that, is suffering from domestic violence or involved in domestic violence, right? I'm not going to take all this intake information and then tell the person, I'm going to try to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Immediately, what is it that I can do right now that's going to be able to change your situation? How can I impact you? Right? If a young person comes to me and they're hungry, we got to go get you something to eat. Right? And we're going to set up all these systems to make sure that they're consistent and that, you have support. But a lot of times, programs are not able to take immediate action. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason why I'm so committed and on the ground with my nonprofit, because I was tired of coming to young people with empty promises, right? Or coming to young people with stories, right, about our past and why they should do something different and why they should not steal, right? Mm-hmm. Or, what's the best route to take. But what are we going to immediately do to impact that person's situation? Mm-hmm. Because if a young person is stealing something, there's something immediately, right, that they need. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to highlight that.
No, it's fine.
That is the level of service that we're giving to community. It's not everything that we can fix overnight, right? But we're going to make sure that right then and there, when helping a person, we kind of give them some type of immediate assistance and make them feel comfortable immediately. So the workforce program puts money in the pocket of the person that's enrolled in the program the first week they come in. They come in on Monday, they do an orientation. Mm-hmm. Classes start on Tuesday. The pay period is bi-weekly, they're paid, right? Every 2 weeks, they're getting paid. So we're not saying, listen, take this OSHA program, graduate. If I can find you a job, I'll place you. No, we're saying that you're on a job. Right now, you're working. You're working to get trained. Right. You're working until you can get placed. And then we'll work on the other things. But it immediately kind of helps the fact that folks need, resources, and we're giving that.
That is amazing because what you're doing in the community is amazing. A lot of people are not doing exactly what you're doing. Now, I know you're not doing this by yourself because I've come in here a few times and you wore out every time.
Yes.
Please tell me you got some serious help behind your back.
I do. A lot of help. So right now we have a staff of, I want to say, 67 individuals. And that is across all 4 job locations. So we have 4 offices throughout Brooklyn. I have a supportive board, very influential people in the community. And then, the organizational chart, there's deputies, there's directors of operations. So I do have a lot of people that work for Elite Learners. Right. And, that are here for the long run to support our young people and the community. So.
Okay. Now, I know you also are in the schools. Mm-hmm. What are you doing in the schools? Or does each school have something different?
Yes. So we have a menu of services that we bring to schools, whether it's elementary, high school, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. We offer our programming. For me, academics is everything, right? And academics is the gateway to success, right? Mm-hmm. However, our young people have to be engaged. Mm-hmm. So our programs are designed to engage young people in STEM. We have mentorship through drama, dance. There's a DJing program. And the thing about Elite Learners is you'll always see the mentorship.
Right.
The mentorship is consistent. Like, that is what I took from the programs that we had growing up, right?
That's right?
The fact that we were able to relate to someone that necessarily may not have been in our household. Mm-hmm. So all of our programs start out with mentorship, but they also introduce skills to our young people. So we have wig making, we have entrepreneurship programs.
Wait, did you say wig making?
Yes, we have a wig making program.
That's great.
So the wig making program is in our high schools in Brooklyn. It's also in our transfer high schools in Brooklyn. And what it does is it allows the young ladies or gentlemen that want to be in the program to create their own beauty bar business. We help them, get their LLC if that's what they want to do. We teach them how to design and, make the wigs. And we are able to really support them to kind of get something other than academics going. And then it generates legitimate money. The same for the barbering. We have a barbering program where we're certifying the guys that graduate or the young ladies that graduate from the program in barbering, and that allows them to make their side money, but it's a legitimate hustle.
There's nothing wrong with that. I tell you that. Okay, wigs come a long way. It's good. They get them in house now.
And the girls have a good time. The schools will embrace us. That's one thing I've never had a problem with. Principals are very, very supportive of the mission, especially knowing that I come from an educational background. And I think they see the way, Elite Learners carries ourselves in our programs. So I'm very appreciative of all the principals that support. But yeah, it's all about engagement. I want the students to feel comfortable and to be excited about being in a program at school. Yeah. And that's really what Elite Learners brings, like that. It's like excitement.
I want to jump into something that I was there for, and I got more involved actually being there when we went to the gun violence thing. And I know that's another component that you're doing. How did you get involved with that?
Wow. So when I started the organization, like I said, primarily it was an educational track. Right? Coming from my background, it was like, listen, I'm going back into the schools. I'm just not going in as a teacher. I'm going in as school supportive services. But I found that as I traveled to every school in all of these different locations, I was dealing with the same problems, which was gun violence, right? Our kids could not play in the parks because the shots are going on. Attendance is poor. Our young people are into gangs and just doing other activities that are pulling them away from academic institutions such as our schools. So it's like, listen, I can't fully tackle education if our communities are not safe.
That's true.
You can't do it.
That's true.
Right? I can't push, coming into the building if you're threatened by coming into the building. Right? I can't tell someone, walk to the community center that may be across the street, but you can't cross that side of the street because your safety's in harm's way. So I had to really sit back and think about violence and how we're going to tackle violence, and in particular, it being gun violence. So that's when I created the anti-violence initiatives and programs that really gave me the experience of being able to address violence and prevent young people from becoming violent.
Okay. So one thing that surprised me that day, growing up, you hear dear, but the one thing that really surprised me to see so many people, like you said, nonprofit organizations that was there dealing with gun violence. And I'm like, I ain't never seen all these people before. Well, why all of a sudden now they popping up? And how long has it been going on? Like, how long do you know that some of these programs have been around?
Over 10 years, like 10, 20, 30 years. And then you got other nonprofits that were not focusing on gun violence, right? Okay. But when it became a moneymaker, and when it became, something that was in your face, where other nonprofits were kind of moving in and strategically placing programs, those nonprofits now came on board, right? Because they're able to get grants and now they're able to get funding, and it's a real life issue that we're facing every day.
That's right.
Right? So the more violence we have, the more money the city makes. As we know, the more money that goes out to programming that addresses gun violence. So there are some organizations like myself, Elite Learners, who, we tackle gun violence because it's in our homes, right? It's in our communities. We can't sleep at night without hearing the shots, right? I still live in the community. I still live in Brownsville. My grandparents are still in Flatbush, so I'm still dealing with a lot of gun violence and a lot of, just unsafe situations in community. So we got to address this. This is where we're losing all of our young people, our young Black men. I think this year we've lost over 22 young people to gun violence between the ages of like 14 and 18.
Wow, that's
Right?
crazy.
So it's a big issue. But it's unfortunate that organizations that primarily did not focus on it is now focusing on it because it's a funding tool, right? And it's a way to be able to get money to support your nonprofit and your business.
So you think, I mean, the only way people are doing it now is so they can get a profit from it, not really to be involved, but just get a profit. That's sad.
You'll find those organizations, they come out for the big publicized shootings, right?
The cameras out.
The cameras out. They're not on the corners every day. We have a program that happens Monday through Sunday as it relates to gun violence. Monday through Friday, we do Safe Passage. Okay. Safe Passage is a program that I created with the idea of getting my children home and to school safely. So I have trained violence interrupters. I have trained credible messengers that are on the corners of the schools and the blocks in which the young people are walking to get to school to ensure that they're safe.
That
right? The same at dismissal. We do that. We prevent fighting from happening. We prevent robberies from happening. We prevent young people from getting hit by cars because they're not, they're shooting across the street. We've prevented, some really horrifying situations from happening, especially the bullying, right? So we created that program. Not for funding because there was no funding. There was no funding for it. There was no really no interest in New York City to even support that program. But we did it because we had to do it. It was a survival tool to be able to make sure my kids were safe. We have another program that's called Occupy the Corner. Occupy the Corner takes a block in the community that is a high crime block, and we flood it with resources. We bring food, we bring job opportunities, we bring mental health services, we bring our mobile trauma unit, a DJ, music, whatever it is, to engage the residents on that block, to give them opportunities that can alleviate some of the violence and the crime that's happening in that particular community. So these programs are happening Monday through Sunday regardless, of whether we have a particular funding stream or not, and we're forced to do this because our communities are depending on the work of the organization.
Yeah, I see that. It's much needed in every community, and what you're doing is a blessing. Why we don't have no Elite Learners commercials? Because what you're doing is so positive, and it needs to be known, not just in Brooklyn, even though we know we want to focus on our area and our community, but what you're doing needs to be more out there so people can be like, how can I get involved?
Definitely.
Can people get involved with Elites, or they just go onto your website and stuff like that? Or
yes. EliteLearners.org is the website. There's a volunteer link. You can click on the volunteer link, fill out the information, and then we get back to you to get involved with the organization. Commercials is one of the things that I really want to do. So I've been trying to work on more media for Elite Learners. We've been featured in some articles for the work that we've done. We've had some type of, some news coverage for some of our events, but I would really like to be able to gain funding to be able to have a commercial. If not only to talk about Elite Learners as an organization, but there's so many young people that could utilize our free services and parents, and they don't know that we're out there providing the work and doing, what we're doing. So I would definitely like to have a commercial.
I mean, I think that's the next stage as far as what you're doing, because like I said, giving out the food this time, to give out the turkeys, you look in the community and you see the value where a lot of people don't have opportunities to get these food. And I was looking around like I'm shocked to see a lot of people like really needing these things.
This year we did 2,000 turkeys across Flatbush, East New York, Prospect, Lefferts Gardens, and Brownsville. We did about 2,000 turkeys. We did fresh produce. And the pantries in all of the communities are every Tuesday. So so if you go on Google and you type in Elite Learners, you'll see all the office locations come up. Every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, at each location, there's a pantry.
What are the 4 locations?
So 106 New Lots is the latest location.
Okay.
Brand spanking new, East New York.
Okay.
And then we have 45 Belmont, which is our Brownsville location. 581 Rogers, which is Prospect Lefferts Gardens, and 4517 Avenue D, which is East Flatbush.
Okay. Now, you said Prospect Gardens?
Yes.
When did that become Prospect Gardens? I just always knew that to be Crown Heights.
Yes.
I grew up. Oh, my God.
Did it break?
That didn't break. It's because of you.
Oh my God.
You're giving out all this information. See? You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. So I just go in the back room and just get another one. Sorry, everybody. She's giving all that information and the camera just broke. But we still here though. We're still here. Oh, you got some people. You got people in here. You know, to switch up gears. My boy Ty, shout out Ty. Ty said give you his number.
Okay.
So he said,
Ty.
He said give you his number. My guy Marv, he said need you as a councilwoman, you know, to run for Congress. Keep up the good work. MLB number brothers in on there. They said good luck. So people is into it. You know, you just got to get the message out there.
Thank you.
You know, I forgot what we were talking about. Just that's crazy.
We were saying, when did Prospect Lefferts Gardens become?
Yes, because I went to PS 161.
Yes.
And I saw you giving out some book bags before school.
Yes.
I was like, I know I got a couple of old teachers up there. Miss Marks, you know, 3rd grade math teacher. I still don't like you, but I'm just saying. I got you a couple bags. And then I went to course PS1, IS61 Lefferts. You know, that was my junior high school. That's where I went. Never knew it was Prospect Gardens. Are you gonna redo that park?
Yes, I would love to redo that park.
And the reason why I asked is because I would love to do a reunion basketball game. All my guys that I've interviewed, some of them are on here right now. We grew up in that park.
Nice.
And that's where we learned how to play basketball.
Nice. Let's do it.
And if we get to redo that park.
So we did skate night there.
I know, and I saw that.
We did skate night there. And the park could use some help.
You know, they tried to change it a while ago where they tried to make a tennis court and they took away the old way it used to look. And we saw it and we was like, nah, we ain't doing that no more. We can't come here no more. So we started going to Wingate. And I saw you do something at Wingate. I went to Wingate too. Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute, you redo Wingate, but you don't redo Lefferts.
Yeah, because you know Wingate is commercial. You know, Wingate is it's 3 schools.
5 different schools in there now. That's what
right?
We used to do reunion games in there, alumni games in there. Yeah. So that is Prospect Gardens. Okay, I learned something new every day.
That is my newest community as far as elite learners infiltrating the anti-gun violence work that we do there. Mm-hmm. We started in PLG. It'll be almost a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. We started unfortunately after a young man was shot on Hawthorne. So
I think I was here around that time.
Yes, a young man named Theodore who played in our anti-gun violence basketball tournament was shot and killed on Hawthorne Street, and it was like devastating for us. So after that shooting, we was like, listen, we're not gonna wait. We're not gonna wait for anything.
Somebody knows you on here. My boy Kenneth Evans, called him Dog. He said, that's Camara. Yeah. Okay, so you know her. And then of course Matthew, he said something. You know, you do a great job in the community. Great work. Matt, you just want to keep your job. Stop.
Tell Matthew I need some toys.
Yes.
Christmas is here. We need some toys. I'm going to call you.
You know, so, you know, a lot of people are here. You know, they see what you're doing, and that's what my platform is for, talking about doing things in the community. Mm-hmm. And like I said, every time I come home, I find myself working. So, and I love it.
And we appreciate you.
Hey.
So listen, don't stop coming home because we need the help.
No, I mean every time I come in, I get a job. So I'm somewhere. I'm working somewhere.
We slap a uniform on you.
Yeah, sure. I go work, go do this, go do that. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever y'all want me to do, I'm here for y'all. Whatever. I love it. I just appreciate the sisterhood that we have and family. You know, you've opened your doors to me always, and I really appreciate that.
Anytime.
But we got more to talk about because we need to know more about Miss Jackson. Like, why did you get into doing this? What you're doing right now? Why did you do this?
I mean, one for just wanting to work with our young people, right, and having to find a way that works for me to be able to do the job that I do, right. That's one reason. Another reason is I was tired of our Black men coming home from incarceration and not being able to find legitimate work, right? I was just tired of the fact that people make mistakes, and sometimes unfortunately you learn the hard way, and you spend some time away, and then I'm just a firm believer in restorative justice. You should be able to come home and find employment that pays well and allows you to be able to move on with your life. And I found that by creating the anti-violence department in my organization, I was able to do just that. I was able to put strong men who were credible messengers in the community. These are men that know that they've made mistakes in the past, and many of them use the fact that they have the experience in the street to prevent another young person from going down that path, right? Or to be able to pull up on somebody and say, listen, I can relate to whatever it is that you've been through. And I'm able to pay them good. I'm able to pay them well. I'm able to support them and their families, and I think that was big for me.
But you don't just want anybody. I'm sure you go through a process of how you interview and bring them in to the family, because you don't want to just bring in anybody that's still trying to be out there.
Right. No. You can't have one foot in and one foot out.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And that and Madry will tell you too. That's another distinction between elite and other organizations. Right. All of my people are fully committed to a new wave and a new wave of living. And that means that we're committed to protecting our own communities and, being thorough in just that. We're not, we're not selling you one story and doing something else behind closed doors.
That's key. That's key, because you can't just bring in anybody who's still selling drugs outside of elite. That ain't gonna work.
That's not gonna
That's not gonna work.
And I've always been firm on that, right?
Oh yeah.
I want to know, and if I can help you, I can help you. Doesn't mean you have to work here, but I'm able to help you. But those that do work here and those that are in position doing the work that we do, they're fully committed to our young people, and they've been with us for a while. We don't have a major turnover rate as far as staff. So I'm very blessed about that,
Yeah, that's good. What's next for Elite?
Growth. I want to continue to grow. Out of state, yes. Okay. Definitely want to work on gun violence prevention in other places out of state. So ATL, I want to do some gun violence prevention work there. Definitely looking to just broaden the message and the techniques that we use to decrease crime without having to rely on NYPD.
How did you get into the schools? Now, I know you did the Board of Education thing, but I know you had to actually go in and talk to these principals or school boards before they let you in. So what was that process like?
So first of all, you got to scout a school. You got to know where you want to serve and why you want to serve in those communities. And then you do some research on who's the principal, like what's the leadership team look like? What are the core values of the particular school? Do those values align with the program? There are some schools that focus just on engineering, and that, it's an engineering school. That's what they focus on. Are my programs going to be appealing to that school? If there's a focus on STEM and I want to offer another type of program. So you got to do your research. But after doing that and having a meeting with the principal, you guys, come to a decision on what's going to be offered in the school.
Mm.
The principal, every school has funding, and they have budget lines for supportive services for outside vendors. And the organization takes the proper steps to become a vendor with the Department of Education, and then you're able to sell your goods, just like as if you're selling a product.
Okay.
You're selling the program and the services that you're offering.
Okay. Now I know what you have at Elite. You have just yourself personally signed grants and stuff like that. Do you offer that class in Elite or no?
No, it's all me. I have thought about branding myself.
Mhm.
I just recently created my own LLC
Mhm.
so that I could, start to help other people that, want to do the work that I do. But this is all me. This is all me strapping up my Timbs and the boots and
getting little Brownsville out there.
figuring out, like, listen, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna make it? When I started the organization, it was in November of 2016. I sat by the computer November, December, and January. I had to figure out how to do this. No one taught me anything. It was all about me figuring out, calling, getting meetings, showing up at events in the community, sitting in meetings. Sometimes I sat in meetings and I didn't know what they were talking about. But I knew the fact that I had a mission and I had to figure out how I was going to get to what I was going to get to. So this is literally on me. I don't have a large funding team, right? So every single dollar that the organization has brought in, we bought it in because I went out and got it, right? I don't have a large fundraising stream. Folks are not donating to me.
But they could.
They could.
Okay.
Could, yes. And I would love to. I appreciate it. But that has been one of the areas that we want to focus on in growth. So everything that we've done thus far has literally been me going out and getting it and doing it and figuring it out.
Superwoman. You need to be wearing that shirt. Superwoman. You need to be wearing that. You're doing it all. And I think that's 100% positive for a lot of other women who probably feel when they want to go out and jump out and go and do their own thing and they feel like, oh, I just can't. But you're the example saying keep pushing.
Yeah.
And you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you sacrifice a lot.
Oh, you definitely sacrifice. I know
a
you're
lot.
sacrificing a lot.
It's a daily
and
sacrifice.
you're dealing with your sickness at the same time, and you're still pushing every day.
Yeah, definitely.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I have a 10-year-old.
Oh my.
I have a 10-year-old.
Trouble in itself.
Yes. Thank God she's amazing at school. And she's very focused, on school. But, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on the time that we have to spend together. It takes a toll on just being able to live personally because you're spending so much time pouring into your organization. And this is my investment, right?
Right.
So, before I can expect for you to invest in me, you want to see what I invested.
Right.
And I really put my blood, sweat, and tears into Elite Earners.
Well, it shows. You got 4 offices. You got a lot of different programs. You in a lot of major schools in the community. Not in the community. You're not just running the organization. You actually, I've seen you hand out turkeys, and you're sitting there with some people sit in the car.
Oh yeah.
You're actually doing it,
Yeah.
and you're showing up to the gun violence community rallies. You're doing all these things, and you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
That in itself is amazing, man.
Thank you.
She needs some support.
I do, but definitely hands on.
What'd you say? Well, make sure you need to come out to my softball game next year. I'm gonna make her come out and play too. Watch, she's gonna come out and play. She's gonna come out and take a swing. You gonna come out and play next year?
I'll give it a try.
She's gonna give it a try. So we got the co-ed game, so she can play the co-ed game.
I'll give it a try.
Man, so now you got all this going on. Have you taken a vacation yet?
I did. I went to Puerto Rico recently. I've traveled a few places. Not really a as thorough of a vacation.
It's probably hard for
it's
you
hard.
because this is your baby.
It's hard.
To be like, let me go away 3 or 4 days. Like, wait a minute, what's going on for those 3 or 4 days that I am gone? So somebody had to snatch your laptop away from you and your phone and everything.
It's hard.
It's that hard?
It's hard. It's hard. Right now, where I'm averaging, the phone starts at about 6 o'clock, if that's a good morning, and it rings all day long. I'm averaging maybe 420 phone calls.
I'm gonna put you on the spot right now, because I've asked you this question before.
What?
Is there anybody can do what you do?
I'm still looking.
In your organization?
I'm still looking. And I know I gotta find someone. I know I have to find someone that can do what I do and run this organization. I am still looking. I have not found that.
You might have what I have. I have trust issues. Because I have my own basketball organization, and people want to come in and be a coach with me, but I'm leery because so many people have burned me before where I can't trust them because they'll take the kids out of my program and go somewhere else. So I'm more like, I'll just suffer and just do it by myself.
You know what it is with me? At heart, I'm a teacher. In Camara, my name actually means teacher. It's an African name, it means teacher. I say that to say, when someone joins this organization, especially a staffer, I pour everything I have into them. I want to educate them. I want them to understand why I'm doing this, how I'm doing this. I really believe in teaching. And even if that's not the person that I think I've identified to run the company, I want them to feel empowered in the position that they are in my organization. But what happens is, because I am so thorough, because I do not turn my back at any time on community, and because we do have multiple locations, it becomes a full-time commitment, right? Yes. It's not just work. It's not a 9 to 5. You come in at 9, you clock out at 5. There's no emotional attachment. That's not this, right? The people that we're coming across, they're depending on us. They're committed. We have to be committed to them. And it's hard to find people that, even though you're pouring into them, even though, for my organization being considered a small grassroots nonprofit, I pay my people because I take pride in making sure that my people are able to come to work, take care of their families, and I'm just that person, right?
That's great.
But not everybody wants to become that committed, and I think we run into that a lot. Right? People want to work for nonprofit. They want to do good community work, but what are they really willing to sacrifice? And those nights that we don't just get off at 5 o'clock. Are they going to stay? Maybe it's something that we can't pay time and a half for. We're a nonprofit. We don't have the funding stream to pay the time and a half. Will you commit to working that holiday? So it's hard to find people that are committed. And then it's also hard because people attitudes change after you pour into them.
That's true.
See, you pour into them, you teach them, you build them up, right?
Like,
you introduce them to the council members, and you introduce them to the senators, and you introduce them to, high people in high places, and then they get a certain, little swag about themselves, and really sometimes forget, how they started or where they come from. So I deal with all of those things within staffing, and just when I think I found a young person, someone that, and I want it to be a young person. I want it to be someone, that doesn't have to put their blood, sweat, and tears to run a nonprofit, but they want to run a nonprofit.
Young, driven.
Just when I think I found that person, bam, something happens, and it's like, dang, I don't have my person anymore. So I'm still looking, but it is my goal to really find someone that can be the executive director of the organization, and I play the role of the founder.
You got to separate yourself. Now you can only do so much. You're gonna burn yourself out.
Yep. Yep.
You work closely with some councilmen, some mayors,
Mhm.
some congresswomen down here. Can you tell me who you work with?
Sure. So I work with Assembly Member Diana Richardson.
I remember that.
Yes. State Senator Zonor Myrie. State Senator Kevin Parker. Councilwoman Farrah Lewis. Newly elected councilwoman of the PLG area, Miss Rita Joseph.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Rita, and she's just like an amazing person. So I'm hyped. She's a former teacher from the community. So again, she knows and she has a pulse on like young people and just kids and community and education. So I'm really hyped that she'll be coming in to be our councilwoman. But I pretty much work with every elected official in Brooklyn that's hands on in community and serving our people.
That's
right.
huge.
I don't know
That's
the ones
huge.
that don't come outside.
Yeah. There are some that just be hiding.
I don't know those. I don't have a relationship with those.
You ain't rocking with those, huh?
Yeah, okay. But I know, and I have a great relationship with the majority of elected officials. One thing about Elite Learners is like I pride my relationship on my business with my electeds. You know, they're leaders in our communities. They're the individuals that have the power and the insight to change and create laws. How could you not work with them, right?
That's true.
So just being able to constantly support them and have them constantly support us is very, very important.
Did you or have you worked with the new elected mayor, soon to be?
Eric Adams?
Yes.
Yes. We've done a few things with Eric when he as borough president. So yes, I have experience working with Eric. A lot of the anti-violence work I do. I've had a lot of roundtable discussions with Eric in Brownsville about like just changing and the new vision and you know how do we build the relationship between community and police and what that relationship should look like to a young person that's growing up in our community. So Eric and I have always touched paths when it comes to community violence prevention work.
I remember interviewing, and I interviewed Diana Richardson, and I interviewed the other guy. I keep trying to think of his name.
Zelma Myrie.
Right, and we talked about doing. I remember when the cops was doing stuff in the community. I'm trying to think of the initiative that they had. It was the 71st precinct. It was it might have been community services, but what it built was it had us playing baseball. It was affiliated with PAL, but it was also something totally different because we were going into different communities, and they also had us doing things in those communities while we were there. It took a group of us in the community, and I think I spoke to him about it. And he was like, they're thinking about trying to bring that back, but it lost the funding.
Yes.
So that's why they're not in there no more as much as what they used to be.
Yeah.
So basically, everything that you do that's in the school, and I'm not saying you in general, some funding has to be behind it.
Definitely. Nonprofits are businesses. Aside of the tax break that we receive because we're a 501c3, we are still a business. And we can't provide our services without having some type of funding stream. We have to. We can't make the changes that we make in community, in schools. We can't make these changes without funding support. So every program that we run, and some programs are not funded, but they are supported from other initiatives.
Okay.
But everything that we do has to have some type of funding stream in order to be able to do it.
Wow. Okay.
So
that's big.
Yeah. So funding is let me tell you something. I got a lot of gray hairs. Put up a lot of makeup under the eyes because funding is a big problem for African American grassroots nonprofits. It's a big problem.
Have you ever been turned down?
All the time. Still, I think I got a denial letter this week. I applied for a grant, denied. I've applied. I've went to political leaders, and they support my work. Oh, you're doing great work. Oh my God, Elite Learners is making a difference. Oh, can you partner? We partner. We do great work with them. Put in for funding, denied.
After saying all that to you,
For sure. Yeah,
still
so
deny
it's hard. And then I still deal with the fact that I make less than my male counterparts. So we can talk about that too.
Well, no, we
Because
definitely
it's still real, right?
Yes.
Me doing the the anti-violence work, me working in the New York City crisis management system, my organization being Elite Learners, women led. I run it. I founded it. I write the programs. The buck stops here. I have not had equal opportunity to receive funding as some of the other groups.
You think that's because you're a woman?
For sure.
Or is it because you're doing it better than your counterparts?
I don't know. But I definitely know that in the beginning, it was like it had me to the point where I wanted to give up. The scrutiny that I faced. Because it was like, listen, what she know about gang violence? Who is she? And she never been incarcerated. How's she gonna go into jails and talk to young people? She never been in jail. She can't make it through the jail. I walk through the jail by myself, no problem. Hello, hi. I'm able to provide services in every jail, every prison. I don't have a problem. I've never been threatened, attacked, nothing. Much love in anywhere I go. I stand on any corner. I do everything that I can do that gets my work done. But I have really had to surpass all of the doubt and just had to really, keep that out. And I didn't realize it. Like I just kept saying, "Why me?" It was a why Camara thing versus me looking at it as, listen, this is a male dominated field, and it's not going to be that easy for you to get into this.
It's sad that women still go through that, even in business or anything they do. And like you said, you almost gave up. Thankfully, you didn't, because now you are, like I said, an example to a lot of women that feel that they should give up and just keep pushing with that goal and your dream and what you want to do.
For sure.
You are an example that you got to keep pushing no matter what it is. So keep pushing. Don't let these dudes stop. Continue to be better than them. Maybe they'll take some notes. Maybe write down a couple of things.
Or partner with me, right? Partner with me.
They can partner with you, but you got to be in charge. They can partner with you.
Yeah. But no, it's real. It's real.
Because even at that gun violence thing, you was the only female out there with a bunch of dudes.
And I'd be so proud.
Think about that.
But I'd be so proud. Like I am so hyped when I get to go somewhere. And regardless of the fact that we know we don't like to go to shooting responses, right? That's not a good feeling. We don't look forward to that. We don't want to stand on the corners in the cold and try to just bring our people down in any way by giving them reality. But we want to do what we got to do to make a difference. And if it means standing out there and shouting and screaming and you hearing us and you seeing my bright mobile trauma unit or me wearing this big patch, I'll do it. But I am so excited to be able to pull up and see my brothers in this work. And then to see how far they've come, just like self-made.
Yes.
Right? And a lot of their stories are phenomenal. But again, I'm that person, I'm hyped, I'm excited. And it's hurtful when you're not received with that same level of respect, because we're all in this work together.
We are. But I guess some people look at it differently. They judge differently. But they can do whatever they want as long as you keep pushing, and nothing's going to change behind that. So
definitely not giving up. I mean, we've come too far now.
No, you can't.
Right? We've come too far now. So I get some higher heels and some stronger souls.
There you go.
We keep pushing and stomping, right?
Elite has a lot of gear. I see jackets, polos, t-shirts. Y'all gotta have a clothing line.
I want to. I want to.
I did see something where y'all sell merch online.
Yeah, well, we just started that this week, and shout out to my young girl Miracle. Miracle is a young lady that works here full time. She was a participant in my school based program, and she graduated high school. And I said, "Listen, if you're not going to college, you're coming to work with me." So she came here, and I've been looking out for her. And the merch that we have, that's her creation.
Really?
Yes, that's all Miracle. So there's a website. She just launched it on the Elite Learners website. But the pictures are her pictures. She's in the photos, like, and I really, step back and let her get it off the ground. So
Right.
definitely, I want to be able to have a photo shoot, something
Yeah.
higher. I want to be able to work with someone to really create a line of clothing. But we're proud of Miracle and what she's done thus far with the merch.
Well, she's doing a lot with the merch. She's definitely. I need to get me a couple more T-shirts. Something. She's doing a lot of great things. I like that. I was talking to her when we was on Rocky Way Livonia the one time, and I said, "You need to get behind here and do some of these interviews."
Yeah.
She said, "No, I'm not doing that." I said, "Okay."
But she's and I'm gonna put out a clip tonight on the Instagram, and she did an interview.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay,
good. She's getting better.
Good.
And that's like growth. Like for me, that's so dope.
Yeah.
Like I could have hired a program assistant from anywhere, right? And the fact that she came in with us at 18, graduating high school, and I was like, "Listen, you're not gonna go work at fast food chain. You're not gonna do, nothing. You're gonna work."
Right.
And she was like, "I gotta go to college. I'm not gonna be able to get a job." And I was like, "Listen, you're gonna go to college, right? Because that's not an option not to go.
Right.
We're gonna go, but until we get ready to go, you're gonna work here." And Miracle has excelled in just working here. Like she's dope, and she's making a good earning.
Shout out to Miracle.
Yeah, definitely. She's becoming a real woman, being here, and I'm really proud of that.
Is anybody else in the program that's working with you that's doing a lot of amazing things that you want to shout out?
Yeah, it's a lot. If I start, you're gonna get me in trouble.
What you mean?
If I start and I miss somebody,
you're the boss. What do we get in trouble for?
If I start, they're gonna be like, "Oh, she left me out." No, but all of my kids. So let me tell you something. I have a group of kids. They're part of the anti-gun violence program. So what it is these are young people that I pay all year long, and they work on like music. They work on just theme songs. They work on community-based events, like they do my brunch with Santas and my Thanksgiving stuff. But these are young people that could have easily walked another path in life. And instead of them really doing that, they said, "Listen, I'm gonna spend my time with Elite. I'm able to pay them," and they're all doing good. Like they're entrepreneurs. They have clothing line, eyeglass companies. One of my young people, Miles, he sells sneakers.
Ooh,
so he gets like all of the Jordans and all of these high price items, Yeezys, and he flips them and sells them. And you should see him coming in here with his shipping labels and all of this stuff. But they're really becoming bosses.
That's what's up.
And I'm proud of that. Very proud of that.
That's good. You gotta be that person that stand out. So they definitely don't want to let you down. So that's why they're doing it and going in that right direction. And they got a good person that's got to follow. So that's what's up. Anything you feel like we didn't touch on? I feel like we touched on a lot.
No, I mean we touched on a lot.
We touched on a lot.
Yeah.
I told you.
What else you got?
What you need?
No, I mean if there's anything you want to know.
What else do you want to talk about? I wanted to talk about you, and you gave me all that in a nutshell. You gave me Elite. You are Elite. We know that. And you told me everything that came with Elite, who you work with, why you do the things in the community. So we touched on all the major things. Do you feel like we haven't touched on something that you want to get out there so these people can know more about you or Elite?
No, the only thing I would say is, I'm a straight shooter. I'm a simple woman. I'm a straight shooter. I'm someone that is really committed at this moment. You know what I mean? To really make a change in communities. I wear Brownsville on my sleeve,
Mm.
right? I wear my heart on my sleeve,
Mhm.
and that's my heart. I wear it on my sleeve. Um, Even when I'm in other communities that have supported me
Mhm.
open heartedly, I always support them. I always do the right thing. I always make sure that I flood every community with resources and opportunities. And, I never leave no one behind. But Brownsville has become a place of just vultures
Mhm.
of people that pry on that community that really don't make a change there.
Mhm.
They don't pour the amount of resources that they could there. And they don't really elevate people.
Mhm.
And as mad as I've gotten at how I've been treated
Mhm.
by some of the community members there, as mad as I've been about the lack of opportunities that I've received there, I still wear it on my sleeve.
Mm.
And I still find a way all the time to make sure that community doesn't feel what I felt coming and doing this work there.
Wow.
And I think that's major, and I think it was important for me to say,
Yeah.
because a lot of people have asked, like, why when you open up an interview do you say, where you're from, if that place hasn't supported you the way in which you've been supported, or your work wasn't as appreciated or acknowledged there, right? Or why is it that you go back there on Tuesdays with food when they didn't want to give you the resources to be able to get the food to support those people?
Right.
And it's just because at the end of the day, we're all people.
Right.
All of our communities are struggling. Brownsville is some place that hasn't really seen progress, consistent change. And I don't want my people to suffer for what it is that you deal with when you're dealing with this work, right? For other people's decisions. I don't want my people on the ground to suffer. So I always try to kind of do what I know is right from the heart. And I always try to make sure that none of the communities that Elite serves is left behind, right? Or the resources not brought to the ground. And I just think that was important for me to say here on the platform because, a lot of people know me from that community. So you would think, well, they treat her good, they show her love, or, oh, she can, you would think it, and it hasn't been the best path for me being there. I've endured a lot of hurt to be able to just do good work.
Right.
So I don't stop because at the end of the day, I can't make my kids in the schools pay for bad decisions, adults make.
That's true. One question. Do you feel you're in competition with other nonprofits that are doing what you're doing? Or do you just feel like I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
So I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? That's why I'm doing it. But I would be untruthful to tell you I didn't see myself in competition. Because at the end of the day, this is a business, right? And in order for me to be able to thoroughly provide the service I provide, I gotta compete. Right? And I gotta make sure that I'm on top and my programs are innovative. I gotta make sure that my marketing is top notch. I gotta make sure that I'm not just speaking these things, but that my work reflects everything that I've said here today, right? And that puts you in competition. Yeah. Right? And it's not that I'm in competition with my brothers and sisters, right? I may be in competition, like I said, with larger nonprofits that are just able to come in, swoop money, and we don't see them. They're able to come in, they win let me tell you, the grants, the RFPs, they have a scoring scale, right? So there's organizations that have systems that they can write and put the paper through a scoring machine. I don't have access to that.
Oh wow!
Right? I'm sitting here at home with a little sheet. I'm still old school. I'm sitting here with a little sheet of paper and a pen trying to get my thoughts out. Right? I'm struggling. I got a tape recorder. I'm trying everything to be able to score high on something that someone else can probably pay someone, a professional, to really write it. Right? So it's competition.
Yeah.
It's competition.
It's competition.
But at the end of the day, I know I'm doing the work from the heart, and I'm doing the work because it's my calling. I'm only competing to survive in the work, right? To have longevity in what I'm doing and to be able to provide more jobs and more opportunities.
Wow. Well, you're definitely doing that, and I see that. I definitely see that overall. Every site that I've been to, I haven't hit the New Light spot yet.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
But the other ones I have seen and have been to, I've taken pictures, a couple of videos, see what you're doing with the pantry. It's amazing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you finally giving me my interview.
Listen, anytime.
Thank you for giving me your 15 minutes. I really appreciate that. You're a busy person.
I'm not a talker, but I'm passionate about me.
You're not a talker?
No, I'm not.
You've been on here an hour. What are you talking about?
I'm passionate about me and what I'm doing, and I really, want to support you in anything that you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that.
No worries.
And I definitely want people to know who you are. I want people to know what Elite Learners is about because I'm a part of it. So I definitely want them to see you. So when they see you out there, like, oh, I know she's over there. They know when you come in the community, they know who you are. And that's what it's about. Definitely. How people can reach Elite Learners? Let everybody know again how to reach.
Yes. So email is elitelearnersinc@gmail. The website is elitelearners.org, and all the social media handles is Elite Learners Inc.
Sounds like a plan. Ms. Camara, thank you again. I appreciate you giving me your time.
Thank you.
A60, we out of here.
Bye.
Get in contact.